Hello and welcome to Japanese Craft Beer Reviews. Today we have kind of a special program for you. I'm going to look at my top beers for 2021. And what we're going to do is look back at kind of a, I guess you could say it's a top 10 list, but actually it's top 16. And these are beers that I rated highly during the year 2021. I'll give you some descriptions and of the beers and information about the breweries. I had a total of 224 different beers during the year, which is quite low. Generally, I tend to get quite a few more in, but it was a difficult year to get out and drink beer because of coronavirus. Bars have been closed or have had shortened hours, and there haven't been beer events or beer festivals. I haven't been to beer tastings in most years. Friends, we will get together, several times a year, and everybody brings lots of new beers and we sample them. But in 2021, that just wasn't possible. So, and even the person I know who does the most beer reviewing in Japan, he had a tough year as well. So it wasn't a great year to get out and taste beers, but I will give you my impressions of a total of 16 new beers from a variety of brewers, both Japanese and non-Japanese, and tell you what I thought about them. Okay? All right, we'll start with a beer from one of my favorite brewers in Japan, and that is Tamamura-Honten, or Shiga Kogen. And this is called an Imperial Coffee Porter 2021 SHAKISO Natural Coffee from Ethiopia. This is an 8% beer, a porter, Imperial flavored porter, 72 international bittering units. I gave this beer a rating of 4 out of 5. This is the third time for Shiga Kogen to brew an Imperial coffee porter, and the brewer there thinks that coffee goes better with porter than with a stout. This one had a very large coffee nose, light scorched coffee note, some char, marshmallow, and vanilla. The roast was really well done here. It had some chocolatey notes and light coffee and dark rich fruit behind it all. A very good bittering with long bitter tracks. Kind of medium full body, very smooth and very warming. This is a very pleasant tipple. Even though I'm not completely partial towards coffee beers, this was an exceptional one, and I would really like to have a barrel-aged version of this one. I think that would be really something to enjoy. Again, Tamamura-Honten Imperial Coffee Porter SHAKISO Natural. Next beer is St. Bernardus Christmas Ale, and you may know this one. This is a 10% quad from Belgium, 28 international bittering units, and I gave this also a 4 out of 5. I've had this in the past. In fact, once at Christmas, my son, who's not really a drinker, said he liked it, and I was surprised. So we went out and got a bottle and shared it at Christmas time. I'm not sure the vintage of this one, but it's at least 3 or 4 years old. This one had an aroma of moderate fruit, roast malt, some caramel, cinnamon, and allspice. It was kind of sweet, dark fruity sort of flavor, chocolate, caramel, licorice, and nuts. Very tangy in mid-palate, medium heavy, and quite warming. This is very gentle and complex at the same time. The alcohol is very well hidden. It's a really wonderful beer. St. Bernardus Christmas Ale. You can find this in many, many places around the end of the year, and you should try this one for sure. Next beer is from Kyoto Brewing, and this is one of my top 2 breweries in Japan. This is called Senzogaeri, or Throwback in English, and it's a collaboration with Yakima Chief hop growers in Washington. It was an IPA for 8%, 49 international bittering units. I rated this one 4 out of 5 as well. This one had a very big, fat grapefruit nose mixed with some other citrus, perhaps lemon, and the Simcoe was in the background for sure. It had flavors of very pleasant blend of citrus, caramel, and weeds. It was moderately dank, and the hops really give the tongue a workover in this one. This one was really well made and tasty. Kyoto Brewing Senzogaeri, or Throwback. And now our next beer is also from Kyoto Brewing Company, and this is a special one. This is Kyoto Brewing Upright Ichiju Tasai, or Farmer's Table, barrel-aged version. And this is a 3.5%, 15 international bittering units, Saison. And this was a 375 milliliter bottles, and this is a collaboration with Upright Brewing in Portland, Oregon. And the cork really popped out with a bang. It had been aged for a while. It was the bread aroma was immediately strong and had some strong lactic acid or acid buzz in the nose, some grapefruit rinds. The flavors were of green apples, citrus, and very sweet, kind of creamy stone fruit. There was a hint of oak, and these were fourth use barrels that they used. It was crisp and retained some sweetness even after 2 years in the bottle. Very pleasant, light, and very tasty. It was complex, but not really, of course, a knockout Brett monster, which is good, I think. The Brett wasn't, really kicking you in the head or anything. This is a table beer, as they say on the label. They made 3 versions of this, the regular one with Upright, and from that regular one, they made a Brett one as well. And then from the Brett one, they barrel aged as well. So it was made in 2019. I have one more bottle of this in the refrigerator, and I'm going to save it for maybe another year. It really was quite an exceptional experience. Kyoto Brewing Upright Ichiju Tasai Farmer's Table barrel aged version. My next beer is also from Kyoto Brewing. You can tell I like them. And this is their Kuroshio Nogotoku, Like the Black Tide Stout. And they revamped this in 2021. It's a new version. It's now 6% alcohol and 35 international bittering units. I gave this a 4 out of 5. And the average on Rate Beer is a little bit lower than mine, 3.3. So this is a can I got from the brewery. And this is one of their 3 flagship beers, their year-round beers. It has a smooth aroma of dark chocolate and light coffee, and the two are just seamlessly blended, the coffee and the chocolate. It was a dark brown color with a solid finger of dark tan head. The flavor follows the aroma very closely, with chocolate as the base, and the coffee's kind of ladled on top of it. Very smooth and creamy from the oats that they include. There's a very light phenolic note, not too much at the kind of the burnt sort of thing, at the end of the mid palate. Very substantial bitter tracks. This is a wonderful stout. The previous version was 4.8% and 30 IBUs, so they've upped both the alcohol and the bittering a bit. And this one really, really, really works well, very, very nicely. And our next beer is from Belgium. It's Anker Gouden Carolus Tripel. And this is a Tripel at 9%, 22 international bittering units. I gave this one a 4 out of 5. This was a bottle from Liquor Mountain, the liquor store chain in central Japan. And it had a kind of dusty aroma of ripe apples and peaches. Very sweet and lightly floral. Hazy dark blonde color with a finger of fluffy white foam and lace that really grabbed the glass. It had a sweet, bready malt and kind of cake-like with a very decided wit beer sort of character. It does contain coriander and orange peel. Very great flavor changes through the palate. It was really nice changes, and the medium heavy body. The aromas are really inviting. This is right up there with the Westmalle Triple, in my opinion. So again, this is called Gouden Carolus and they're from Belgium. You should give this a try. I think they're imported in a number of countries around the world. Next beer is TDM 1874 New Zealand Double IPA. This is a double IPA from TDM 1874 in Yokohama, and you see the picture of the brewer there in the bottom corner, left corner. That's George Juniper, and I reviewed this with him and two other friends online. And he gave us a lot of insights into the beer and the ingredients that they used and the process involved. The aroma of this beer really gave off strong Nelson Sauvin characteristics, but blended with the three other New Zealand hops, Rakau, Motere, and Taiheke. Very complex and quite different from other New Zealand IPAs. The flavors were of stone fruit and tropical fruit, some nectarines and passion fruit, along with the citrus. It also had some dried grass and earthy herbal hopping. The finish was clean and not too sweet. And what the brewer said was because of the coronavirus, he could not visit New Zealand, so he was trying to bring New Zealand to him. And I think in doing so, he made something new and wonderful. And now we have a very special beer. This is Tamamura-Honten, or Shikakogen, plus Hair of the Dog, a collaboration called ECKHARDT from the Wood. And this is a strong ale, an American strong ale, at 12.5% and 74 international bittering units. I gave this one a 4.1 out of 5. So a collaboration between these two great brewers. If you know Hair of the Dog in Portland, Oregon, the brewer Alan Sprintz was highly influenced by Fred Eckhardt, who was a Portland beer writer. So when he was early in his career, Fred Eckhardt gave him a lot of advice. And this is a bottle, and it's been aged in 16 months in new American oak bottles. And this is the first time for them to use new barrels at Tamamura-Honten, fresh barrels. It was a big 500-liter barrel. And they had a collaboration with Hair of the Dog in 2017, and this time they were able to make the same beer on their own. So it's not quite a collaboration this time. This one had aromas of orange cake, marmalade, and quite heavy graininess. And the flavors were very much like the aroma. The initial flavor was kind of an attack of fruit and fusel alcohol. And it expanded into caramel and more complex stone fruit. The barrel notes were quite prominent with a sort of very fresh oakiness. Very heavy body and very warming. This was a sipper, and it starts out a bit too strong. And then it mellows and develops from mid-palate, and it really became a bit more complex as it opened up, as it warmed up as well. I have another bottle of this, and I'm planning to age that one for at least another year. So this was, again, Tamamura-Honten, Hair of the Dog, ECKHARDT from the Wood. Pretty exceptional beer. And our next beer is also a special one, and this was Kyoto Brewing's barrel-aged Okuriinu, 9%, 37 international bittering units, and this was a strong, pale Belgian ale. I gave this 4.1 out of 5. This is a bottle I got from the brewery as part of their special bottle club set. They released several bottles and packaged them into a set for coronavirus during the coronavirus time. This was aged in 15 months in whiskey barrels. It had a nose of dark caramel, butterscotch, wood, creamy, thick maltiness, and some raisins. The flavors were caramel, vanilla, and a very light but direct sort of fruitiness. Something that ended up like creme brulee to me. It had a medium body and was quite warming. Very much a flavor-forward beer. And this one is truly a sipper. You have to go easy on this one. Again, it's called Kyoto Brewing Barrel-Aged Okuriinu from 2019, so 2 years old. And our next beer comes from Kadoya, and this is called Kadoya Neko Sanbiki, and it's a 10% Imperial or Double IPA, a New England style IPA, 70 international bittering units. I give this 4.1 out of 5. This one had an aroma of tropical fruit juices, and it was very rounded and lightly pungent, kind of hazy, deep orange-brown color. The flavor was kind of thick, peachy sort of fruitiness and condensed apples, very powerful. Medium body and lightly warming. This one is really unusual and packed with flavor, and I have to say that really kind of edging towards barley wine territory, or a hazy barley wine kind of territory. Again, Kadoya Neko Sanbiki, 3 cats. And our next beer is Second Story Farmhouse 2021. And this is from Second Story Brewing in Tokushima, Japan. 7.5% Saison, and I gave this a 4.1 as well. And this one had a very strong, rich stone fruit aroma, and coupled with some citra and some Brett yeast, maybe some white wine grapes, and a hint of tropical fruit. So a very complex aroma. And it was gold straw color with a fluffy finger of white foam. Very effervescent. The carbonation just exploded off the bottom of the glass. The flavors were stone fruit, and then grapes, apple peel, some grain. They included brown rice in this. A bit of funk, and then some peppery finish. A lot of character. It's undergone a few kinds of aging, and it was made with 3 yeasts, brown rice and black pepper. The black pepper is similar to their excellent Farmhouse Americana 2019, which is also made with black pepper. If you don't know Second Story Ale Works, go check them out online. Another beer from Kyoto Brewing Company. This is called Heretic Barrel Aged Itansha no Gyakushu, Heretics Revenge. And this was an 11%, 39 international bittering unit, strong dark Belgian ale. And I've been waiting on this one. I had it sitting for quite a while. And the base is the Heretics Revenge, which they made as a collaboration with Heretic Brewing in California in 2019. It was a dark tea brown color with a 0.5 centimeter of frothy tan head. The barrel aroma was quite big, with sort of whiskey-soaked cherries, plums, light prunes, and strong dark fruit. The flavors were similar to the aroma, but even richer. The hops were blended in nicely. This was very rich, warming, and kind of tongue-tingling. The barrel was pronounced, but not overwhelming. Maybe we could call this, I could call it even a quad red ale. Really, this is a wonderful beer. Kyoto Brewing Heretic Barrel Aged Itansha no Gyakushu, Heretics Revenge. Now, another beer from, and this is from Nara Brewing. This is Nara Brewing Integral, a 7.5%, 24 IBU Saison. Nara Brewing in Nara, Japan. This had a fresh citrusy aroma, pungent and zesty, with lots of citrus blossom. Seemed to be wheaty, but there was no wheat included. The carbonation was just incredible, furious tornado kind of rising up. I had to scoop out the foam a few times before I could drink. It was malty, honeyish, rich with citrus, and kind of moderate hopping. The alcohol level seems just right. The brewery's been apparently looking around, experimenting, trying to find a good Saison, and I think they have found what they have been looking for in this one, Nara Brewing Integral. And now, another one from Kyoto Brewing, and this is Kyoto Brewing Kodo wo Yuku, Pilgrim's Respite. And the name of the beer they translated as going along the old road, the travelers, going up to Tokyo and away from Tokyo a long time ago. And this is Kyoto Brewing's attempt to make a truly authentic saison from the ingredients to the packaging. This one really gave a healthy crack when I popped it open. It had fresh aromas of saison yeast, light esters, and citrus blossoms. And the carbonation just rushed up in a big swirl and created a massive head of foam. Flavors were of moderate fruit and grass, some stone fruit, and light citrus that came up on sort of waves of carbonation in the mid-palate. It was frothy and lightly stinging on the tongue. This one had clear, smooth flavors. It was really a superb beer. Again, Kyoto Brewing Kodo-o-yuku, or in English, Pilgrim's Respite. 7%, 24 IBUs. 4.2 from me out of 5. The next one is TDM 1874, The Whole World Window. This is an Imperial or Double IPA at 8.5%, 65 international bittering units, and I gave this one 4.2 out of 5. I rated this again with the TDM brewer in attendance and two other beer friends of mine, and he provided so many insights into the beer. He talked about the ingredients he used and how he made it, and this one had huge aromas of stone fruit, some tropical fruit, and mild maltiness. Some dextrose was added, and the body was a bit light as a result. I guess dextrose or dextrin malt, I can't remember. The flavors were mango, pineapple, and citrus, and kind of a less heavy, sweet maltiness than in many double IPAs. So it wasn't quite as sweet as most of them. Moderate bitterness for the style and rather dry sort of finish. This was really great stuff. He was awarded a silver medal at in the American Double IPA category at the 2020 International Beer Cup. The name of the beer is a reference to the British band the Cardiacs. Their first album is called A Little Man and a House and the Whole World Window, and that was an album from 1988. The brewer at TDM 1874 is a big Cardiacs fan. The Whole World Window from TDM 1874. And now my final beer, and one of the best I had all year. This is Second Story Break, and 5.5% flavored pale ale flavored with coffee. I gave this 4.2 out of 5, and I might have given it higher. Coffee right away out of the nose, some cream and caramel blending nicely, and a very light floral note as well. The coffee was so smooth, with some honey-ish note and caramel sweetness, some cream and sugar. The flavors were really well-rounded and they mixed so well. Really great coffee and malt balance, and the malt really allowed the Ethiopian coffee to shine through. This is really, as I said before, I'm not partial to coffee beers, and this is really just one of the finest coffee beers I've ever had, and they made it again. It's available again. I think I might order it. It's absolutely wonderful. So I gave this 4.2 out of 5. The average on Rate Beer is only 3.19. I don't know. We'll see. I will try it again, I'm sure. Again, Second Story Break from Second Story Ale Works in Tokushima, Japan. Okay, so let's recap a little bit. And there were 8 breweries mentioned here, and those were Brewery Anker, Kadoya, Nara Brewing, St. Bernardus, from them I had 1 beer each, 2 beers from Second Story Ale Works, and 2 beers from Tamamura-Honten, Shiga Kogen, 2 beers from TDM 1874 in Yokohama, and 6 beers from Kyoto Brewing Company. Among styles, there were 11 different styles, 3 saisons, 3 double IPAs, and 1 each of pale ale, flavored Belgian Strong Dark Ale, Belgian Strong Pale, and American Strong Ale, Triple, Stout, IPA, Quadruple, and Imperial Porter. Several of these beers are big beers, and the average alcohol was 9.2%. So I think we tend to give those big beers bigger ratings, just the way it is. The top brewery was Kyoto Brewing for me. Number 2 would have been TDM 1874. 3, Second Story Ale Works. And I hope you can get out and work on your top beers for 2022. I am already busy doing that, and please take care, stay healthy, take care, and bye-bye.